Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about several very, very beautiful and sexy fish. Women. I meant women.
Sexy, beautiful women who have absolutely no idea where the fuck New Hampshire is, except for Kata, who is from New Hampshire,
The two kinds of women, the ones who don't know where New Hampshire is and the ones
who
who
live there.
are from New Hampshire. It's week 2 of Love Island USA. Today we are getting into episodes 2 to 7.
Pray for us. This is a longer week than usual. Normally, we will be going over 5 episodes, but of course, there was an episode last Wednesday. So here we fucking go. And just a little disclaimer, because we do these recaps weekly, because we want to have our commentary to be able to record on a day where there is not a new episode, which is Wednesdays, we will not be able to cover every single detail of every single episode. So if we do not hit the thing that's stuck in your brain, I am so sorry. We are truly doing our best to get into all of the big themes and, also just like have a lot of fun covering this
Yeah.
show, because that is the name of the game for Love Island USA.
Yeah.
As Kyle
Fun
Cook says,
and
summer should be fun.
Summer should be fun, and Love Island is all about fun and diagnosing people with personality disorders.
That's
So
what happens on social media.
that's what we're gonna be doing. Yeah, we just gave each other a big pep talk about how we're not gonna talk for over 2.5 hours, or even exactly 2.5 hours, so wish us luck. If you missed our last news and gossip episode or our earlier recap of night 1 of Love Island USA, or our recaps recently of Perfect Match and Farmer Wants a Wife, scroll back in the feed. We've been very busy. Also, we moved Rich Text over to Patreon recently, and our most recent episode was about part 2 of the Summer House reunion in the city. Another episode about part 3 of the reunion, and some other Bravo stuff will be coming soon. We've really been in our Bravo era.
We
Like this
have.
is like the playoffs of Bravo right now. What's happening? And it's hitting along the same time as the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals, so everyone's exhausted. You can find those conversations and more at patreon.com/richtext.
So let's get into Love Island USA. Guys, I'm really enjoying myself.
Me too, actually. I'm getting into it. I feel like I started on a weird season.
You really did. Season 7, the vibes were rough.
From early on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at what's happening. I know a lot of people are looking at what's happening and are like, oh God, we've got to nip this in the bud before it's a Huda situation. We got to nip that in the bud. Okay, it's all Melanie. And we'll talk about Melanie. But to me, this all seems like normal reality TV drama so far.
I
And
agree.
there's behavior to critique. That's part of the fun of reality show drama. But none of it to me is like ruining the show, taking over the dynamic of the house, or like scary or unsettling.
Exactly. No one is being harmed that we can see. And like,
Yeah.
people seem to be getting into it, exploring. We're getting hot new bombshells. They're saying dumb shit all the time. This is the joy that
Nature is
I
healing.
crave.
So we got to get into it because there's a lot to cover from this week. But like up top, I think, yeah, thumbs up. Like this is the vibe that I was hoping for last summer.
Same.
Which is not, no one ever does anything rude. No one ever hurts their partner's feelings. No one ever explores a little too much during a challenge. Just like it's all fun, messy, dramatic. We're here to watch them work it out. So we dive back into episode 2. Remember the dot challenge when they had to stand on a dot behind their door and then you would open the door and find out if your partner also stood on a green or red dot?
Yeah, bring your mind all the way back, because that is
Way
where we
back.
are right
Sean
now.
was still here.
Sean is still there. Sean and Kenzie have both been left in the dust by their respective partners, and they are pissed, especially Kenzie, because she grew up on the great romances. like Ella Enchanted the movie.
The movie. I'm like, does she even know that it was a much, much, much better book?
Much better. The book is so superior.
Ugh, but she wants like a Prince Char of her own. And instead she always goes for men who she says are cheaters or don't stick around. And she really kind of has a bit of a meltdown about this. And I'm sympathetic, but I don't think that it's fair to like compare Zach to a cheater or even a man who doesn't stick around. She picked him. He said okay, and they were together for like 24 hours. And he
Maybe
repeatedly
less.
made it clear to her that he was not that into her. So, yeah, I think you can expect him to move right along when he has another option.
I would agree. So, as this is happening, the 4 cast members who chose to stand on the red dots, 2 men, 2 women, get whisked away by the bombshells for 24 whole hours to
Yeah.
share one giant bed,
Yeah.
respectively. It's like very Challenger's core, especially Bryce, Zach, and Kada.
Yeah, I feel like they are dipping into some fun tropes and some fun references this week. And we had the Doors last week. That was really big. They had a day of Doors. Now we're doing the it's only one bed trope repeatedly. They're like, how big can we make the bed? How many people can we make share the bed? How hot would that be?
Yeah, you start with 3, suddenly you're at
Yeah.
like 18.
Yeah, they start by pushing together 2 queen beds. By the end, they're pushing together 16 king beds, to see how big of a bed they can make. And so each group of 3 is sharing one giant bed. We've got Zach, Kada, and Bryce. And then in the other room, we have Trinity, Bea, and Gabrielle. So this creates some interesting dynamics because the bombshell might have a person they're particularly interested in. And it's
And
clear that
perhaps one they're not.
right. Like, for example, Kada is very interested in Zach, and it's mutual. But she is not interested in Bryce. And Bryce feels that because he's here in the bed, he gets to be part of this. He's like, this is Challenger's core. There are 2 dudes, and they're both involved by definition. And she has
Sorry,
to reject
my
him. Like,
guy.
she's making out with Zach in the bed, and he tries to kind of like clamber on top of them and say, like, oh, you can't like leave a guy out. And Kata's like, yes, you will be left out. Bryce.
Go, Kada.
This kind of bummed me out because it really brought to the fore how weird it is for the show to set up a woman to share a bed with 2 men she does not know and had no choice in like inviting into the bed at all.
Yeah, it's definitely deeply uncomfortable. I will say this was maybe Bryce's worst moment.
Yeah, I almost forgot about this because I like him so much by the end of the
Yeah.
week. Tough to revisit.
Yeah, no, a rough time for him. I'm glad that Kada felt empowered to create some boundaries. And
Because
he
then
does end up at least on the other corner of the bed eventually.
yeah, he does accept the no once she gives it very clearly. But then the next day when they have their one-on-one dates during that 24-hour time span, she gets a date playing cornhole with Bryce, and he immediately insists that if he wins, he gets to kiss her, and if she wins, she gets to kiss him. So he kind of does like corner her into a kiss in the end, and I did not think this was smooth.
Yeah, I'm like, is there an option for her just not touching you? I guess not.
Right. Like she could have said no, but I thought that given that she had expressed the night before that she didn't want to kiss him, this was not a smooth or um nice way to try to get that kiss. She doesn't want to kiss you. Deal with it.
She's into Zach. That's very
Yeah.
clear. We also get a really funny conversation between Trinity and Gabrielle where she learns that he is 26 and she's like 26, that's basically 30. That's the age that you settle down and or die because 30 is just elderly, We all know
Well,
that.
I think all these women have such a clear timeline in their heads. Like they're in their early 20s to mid 20s and they're like, I want to have 5 to 10 kids. So I have to start meeting someone, because if I don't even meet that person until I'm 30, then I'm not married until I'm 33, then I'm not having kids until I'm 35. They're like, let's rewind. I have to meet someone at 23 so that I can be married by 25 and start having kids at 26. They're like, are you not thinking about the reverse math to make sure that you get to have 10 kids? And the guys are like, 10 kids? Who said anything about kids?
Gabe is not down. Gabe is not down to settle down. Gabe is thinking about one thing and one thing only, and that is his tongue. I
Mm,
have far too intimate a relationship with Gabrielle's tongue.
yeah. Listen, Gabrielle and Bea, they end up coupling up. They're really into each other. They're both very attractive people. Bea is very charismatic and charming. Not so much on that for me with Gabrielle, but
No.
but he uses so much tongue when making out, and she wears her Invisalign trays while making out, and it really, like, I can't look. I
I
have
can't.
to
No,
look
I need to
away.
avert my eyes. I need to see less of it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think Bea needs to just leave the Invisalign, start over after the island. I'm sorry,
It's
you
fine. As
cannot
someone
make
who
out
has
with
had
10 men.
Invisalign, it's okay if you take a break.
Yeah. Listen, my husband did Invisalign in the last few years, and those came right out before any kissing. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna make out with you while you have a plastic tray over your teeth.
No, I was literally like actively dating around when I got Invisalign, and I had like a meltdown to my dentist about it. And my dentist was finally just like, it's really fine if you don't wear them the amount of time that they say to. It's
Better to
okay.
leave it off
Yeah.
for the date than to be, like, drinking a cocktail and making out with the Invisalign tray
No
in.
one
Just,
wants
like, it's
that.
okay. No one wants that. Um, and, like, there's an growing it's almost like I wish we could send a message in a bottle to Bea, because the whole internet is, like, gathering to be like, "Stop wearing the trays," but she can't hear us. So meanwhile, back at the villa, Sean is pretty upset about Bea not standing on green. And I get it. Like, he felt like they had a really strong connection and he wants someone who's really invested in that. He also keeps calling her B or Beatrice.
I noticed this. Guys, she was very clear. She gave
Yeah,
you an alternative, also, Bea.
right. And like, I know that I am not great at pronouncing Beatrice. And listen,
That's why I say Bea.
it's pretty phonetic and easy for English speakers to say. Like, there's no excuse to call her B instead. And so that really annoyed me. Um, Kenzie also calls her B. A lot of them seem to struggle with the pronunciation, but like, to give up, I think is not respectful.
I agree.
Kenzie is continuing her crash out about not being any of the men's type, and she's constantly just anxiously word vomiting about how no one here is interested in her type, and she just wants to feel the spark and be pursued.
Cut to the end of the week, and this girl has a roster.
Right.
So I think what we are seeing is her total unpreparedness to not be desired for her whiteness and blondness.
Right. I mean, we see women of color have this experience on shows like this all the time, including Love Island, that they'll come in and they'll be like, none of these guys really date women who look like me. No one seems that enthusiastic about getting to know me. We see that Anaya has this experience where Casey is really the only person who seems that receptive to her throughout a lot of the first week. But for Kenzie, it's clearly like an existential crisis. She's like, I've never had to consider that being blonde would not give me
Right.
sexual status. I'm confused. I'm disoriented. Like, when is a normal man who just knows that blonde women are hot gonna show up? And until someone starts pursuing her, she like cannot calm down about it for a single second. I'm like, just chill out. Like, be the mother hen of the house, you know? There's so many paths. You don't
Oh,
have
don't worry.
to.
Bombshells are coming.
Bombshells are coming. She also tells Sean, like, they're kind of bonding about how their partners left them. And she tells Sean that what she really wants is a man who pursues her. She's like, my real type is just that I want to be pursued. And she specifically says that she wants to be pursued like a little gazelle being hunted by a
You know,
lion.
like when you're pursued towards death. That's what's hot to me.
What?
Unsettling. And this is a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Tatiana did track this for meme purposes. And I'm pretty sure she says it in episodes 2, 5, and 6.
Yeah, she says it 3 times, and I will say, like, on one level, I was just like, "Oh, she's, like, romanticizing female vulnerability to male aggression. She's romanticizing the idea of, like, lacking agency and simply being, like, chosen by a man and giving in to his desires, which is so disempowering and regressive and dangerous." Like, it's giving dark romance. It's giving, like, romanticization of abuse, vibes, like, not specifically, but, like, that dynamic is very unsettling. I also was like, she really only talks about this with Sean and Corbin, who are men of color.
I wonder if we're going to hear her say it to the new bombshell.
Yeah, agreed. I want to keep an eye on that
Yeah,
because the way
we will
that she
track that.
talks to Sean and Corbin is a little different to me.
So the 6 red dot humans.
6 red dot humans.
6 red dot humans.
Persons of red dot.
Persons of red dot origin. Return from Paradise Cove to the villa, and they are immediately forced into like a tiny recoupling ceremony at the fire pit before they can talk to their original partners. And the bombshells are given the power to choose who they want to couple up with. So Kata chooses to couple up with Zach. Gabe couples up with Bea. And this leaves Kenzie and Sean fully single and vulnerable.
It takes me a while to get used to the Love Island thing where there's a recoupling, but you don't get dumped if you're single immediately. I feel like a lot of shows, when they do the magic, the musical chairs moment, that's when people leave. But that's not exactly how it works on Love Island.
No, it sort of changes. And this like wasn't an official recoupling versus
they're
the
just,
one
like,
we see later
reshuffling.
where Sean is sent home.
Right. Sometimes they just use it to kind of like force people to explore different
Yeah.
connections. Another thing I wanted to touch on before we move on to the next episode is something that happened off screen, which is that as soon as Kata entered the villa, some women popped up online saying that she was a bully in high school and even shared a video that allegedly shows her like getting into a physical fight. It appears to show that. Um, so all the women posting about this were white, which is something that a lot of online commentators were immediately a little bit
Yeah.
suspicious of. Kata is biracial. Her father is Haitian. She grew up in this extremely white region. And so immediately there was the speculation that maybe she faced racial bullying from these women.
And her mother commented on a Facebook fan page basically backing this up and saying that Kata got into the fight in the video because she was called the N-word.
Yeah, which like that's impossible for us to fully litigate. We don't know anything beyond what her mother and these women have said. But I will say that so far she has been perfectly chill in the house and she has only like checked when like in response. Like she's only
And verbally, to be
right. She's
clear.
only gotten into it with women when she was targeted first. She has been very respectful, I think.
No, she's become one of my favorites in the house. I also
Same.
just find it a little bit disturbing that it does feel like people now have this habit of like kind of holding on to quote unquote incriminating material of people and then like deploying it when they like at like the maximum impact moment when they're on television.
Yeah, you used to have to go to a tabloid and get the tabloid to agree to publish that. Now you can just tweet it out. You can just post. Yeah, it's she doesn't have her mother responded and of course her mother would have her back, but her mother knows the situation better than probably anyone other than the people involved. She was able to respond, but Kata can't respond. She's in the villa. You can have any sort of out of context
That's the thing.
allegations or clips put out there when she is sort of in this bubble, and
It
that
just makes me
is
generally feel kind of icky.
Yeah.
this is something that we see kind of happening on a semi-regular basis
Yeah.
now.
And that was kind of the toughest part of the Sierra thing last summer for me
Well,
as well, was
exactly.
just that like she was unable to address it or even know what was happening while the discourse was happening. And like that doesn't mean that it's acceptable for people to be sort of given a huge platform who holds problematic like views or do harmful things, but like it's very tough to have these things being discussed in this fervent way when they're not able to participate.
Yeah. But on the whole, I'm like really enjoying Kada. So the
Me
discourse
too.
seems to have calmed down, and I am glad for that.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, let's head into episode 3.
And we are back. Heading into episode 3, our new bombshells are fully integrated into the villa. Everyone's getting to know each other. And this is when we learn something very alarming. And that is that no one knows where New Hampshire is, or perhaps even that it exists as one of our 50 great states.
Yeah. Like, there are a lot of states, Americans famously do not learn very much geography, nor do we travel very much.
Look,
But
I
like
am
not even the
terrible at
general region.
geography. I am terrible at geography. I no shade there. However, I have heard of the state of New Hampshire, and I do know where it is, at least
I
generally,
could
bare minimum.
gesture to the part of the map
Right.
where it is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see it identified on a map. Although I did recently confuse Maine and New Hampshire in a conversation with my cousin who lives in one of them, and it was very embarrassing for me. I I
At
could
least
have
they're
narrowed
close
it down
together.
to 2
Yeah.
or 3 states, okay? They're close together. They look confused. They're like, "New Hampshire? No. What? Where
Also,
is
clearly
that?"
this is common enough because Kada, this is like her opening line. Like, I'm from New
Right.
Hampshire. Do you know where that is? And they're all like, no. Except for
Exactly.
Sincere. Except for Sincere, who's like, yeah, I'm from Jersey. So
It's not
I
that far.
know.
No, that's so true. It's alarming because it's not just these women. She clearly hears this all the time. Open the schools, teach
I'm so upset.
geography,
Look,
teach
just
less.
like general regions.
Yeah,
I don't need every student to be able to fill in perfectly a map of all 50 states,
we're
okay?
going to lower the bar to hell
Yeah.
so that they can step over it. But please teach them some
Just like, yeah,
geography.
New Hampshire, Northeast, you know?
That that point at the top of the map, it's
It's
around
around
there.
there.
Oh, this was so alarming. And like the fact that New Hampshire has been holding this early primary for so long in hopes of being nationally relevant and still people of voting age don't have any idea what it is it's like what are they doing? Is it
The
just
indignity.
it's just all Twitch streams and clubs? I don't know what kids are doing these days. So meanwhile Kenzie is icing out Zach and she, like, clearly doesn't want to, like, mend things with him in any respect, but she handles it in a way that is kind of childish, I think.
It's
He
kind of absurd. Like, again, guys, you were together for less than 24 hours.
and he repeatedly was like, "You're not my type." Why would he keep saying that to you if not to signal that he doesn't really care to pursue things with you? Like, she keeps being like, "I wish you were just straight up with me," and he was.
He
He put a
was.
pillow in between you and he said, "You're not my type." So he has to talk twice, like that night, I think, and then the next morning. And both times she's just like, nope, don't want to, and completely snubs him.
Instead, she pivots towards someone who is showing at least a bit of interest in her, Sean, just the other single person. And all of a sudden, they're just making out.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, when they're both single, makes her a plate and puts the potatoes or whatever in a heart. And she's immediately like, "You're pursuing me." And I love that. And he clearly is a little bit like, okay. Like, yeah. And she latches onto that bit of attention so quickly. Zach is now dead to her. She also makes a play for Gabrielle without chatting with Bea at all about this. And Bea does not like that. she starts making some shady comments to the other women about how Kenzie didn't tell her first, and she says that she is going to talk to Gabrielle about it first instead of Kenzie because she doesn't think Kenzie will tell her the truth about it. Ironically, Gabrielle is, we will see later in the week, will also not tell her the truth about things if he so chooses. Like, why does she trust him over
Right.
Kenzie on this? Like, Kenzie is kind of annoying, but
Well, I think
Gabrielle
what we
is like
actually
a
learn about
slut.
Bea is that she has a bit of a chip on her shoulder when it comes to other women.
Yes. And she's not the only one that acts a little weird with the other women, as we will get to with Melanie. And also, Kenzie should have told her that she was going to talk, that she was going to call
Totally.
Gabrielle. It didn't need to be a big deal. Like, you can just talk to her about it briefly. But Bea clearly is used to having guy friends. She is comfortable with men. She feels like more trust and understanding of them. And she's very quick to blame women, I think, for not handling situations
Yeah. We
in the
see this
best
come
way.
up a few times. So I've kind
Yeah.
of noted it. And even in this episode, we see that Bea has a sit down with Zach and is like, here's what you have to say to make a woman feel heard and get her the fuck off your back,
This was
basically.
wild to me. She is giving him lines that she assures him will work on girls. She's like, this will work. Say your feelings are valid. Say some shit like that. That works. She says, with girls, it's always, your feelings are valid. That was not my intention. How are you feeling? Zach calls these cheat codes.
He's like, oh, say, I hear how you're feeling. I'd never considered that. Thank God there's a woman in front of me to tell me how to fake my way to making another woman feel heard.
Right. And like, there's nothing wrong with like the men and women being friends with each other or giving each other advice on how to navigate their relationships. But to me, the way that she talked about this really smacked of like, I too see women as these sort of emotional basket cases who need to
Yeah.
be kind of placated with these bullshit lines that you don't really believe. And I didn't love that. If you want him to really validate Kenzie and try to understand her, that's very different from being like, just say your feelings are valid. That'll work. Just say whatever that sounds like that and it'll work. That's about manipulating. That's about giving him tools to manipulate this woman with.
Correct.
And to be fair, Kenzie is also driving me nuts, and I think she's being very unreasonable, but that doesn't mean that this is like a healthy approach to coaching your guy friends on how to talk to women they're involved with. So, meanwhile, Bea and Sean have to have their own chat because he, like Kenzie, is feeling some type of way. And there was a lot of criticism of Bea for not telling Sean that she wasn't sure about their connection, that she didn't want to be a stepmom figure, and that he was left in the dark about all of this. And she tells him that she kind of thought she would get to share her reasoning during the challenge and then didn't realize she was going to get whisked away for 24 hours.
Which fair.
Um, and she is apologetic that she didn't tell him beforehand, that she was more open. She says she still wants to get to know him, but she kind of wanted to have her cake and eat it too, which I think is very honest. She is very blunt. That's
She
one of her best
is.
qualities. And I appreciated that Sean was also honest, that he doesn't really want that. He's like, I just want someone who's focused more on me. And that kind of draws a line under their connection. It's clear from what we can see that they're not really exploring each other anymore after that. Some people have been criticizing Bea for not being honest about his kid being a deal breaker during this conversation, but it
Eh.
seems irrelevant because they're done. So
Yeah,
I didn't think
I
that
actually
was
thought this conversation was quite mature. I'm like, they both said their piece. They accepted the other one's position. They
right.
moved forward and seemed to be on good terms. So
Exactly.
it's
Like
fine.
if he was like, "Yeah, let's keep exploring," then I would think it would be correct for her to be honest with him about her hesitations, but like it's irrelevant. Melanie starts to let her insecurities get the better of her with Sincere in this
Oh,
episode.
and it continues. Gosh, their
Yeah.
connection is like the early their connection is like the early coupling that where they're like really latching onto each other, but they're both behaving in at least slightly toxic ways.
Yeah, and I think they both have attributed their connection to like, "Oh, you just feel familiar. You feel like home." But we know they both have a history of bad relationships, and also that can kind of mask that sense of immediate comfort. It seems to have been making them feel like it's not necessary to actually communicate with each other, but just because someone feels familiar doesn't mean that they don't need you to communicate clearly with them.
Yeah. So this all starts to come to a head because Sincere pulls Kada for a chat, which like
Yeah.
seems fair. It's again day 2.
Well, so I felt like kind of conflicted about this because it's totally fair for him to pull Kata, right? But he kind of dug himself a little hole here because he has been overly reassuring Melanie. He's like, "You have nothing to worry about with me. I get it. You've had a bad history, but like my actions are going to prove over time that you have nothing to worry about. Like we're going to get to that place of trust because I'm going to be so trustworthy." But when he is not having one of those conversations with her, his actions do not match with that,
I
and that
find
makes
his
her feel
actions to
nuts.
be more problematic in like later episodes than I did during
I
this one.
I agree that they get worse, but his actions at this point are what made me completely unsurprised when he started acting that way. Meanwhile, everyone's been like, "Poor Sincere, poor Sincere." I'm like, he kind of started all of this. I don't think it was the biggest deal, and her reaction was disproportionate, and we'll get into her reaction, which has been a big mess. But like he did start it by being like, "You can trust me, I will prove it to you." Then he pulls Kata without telling her he's gonna do it, lies to her about his level of interest. Like I don't think that he's actually acting trustworthy at all. And Melanie is clocking it.
Yeah, I think they're both a bit of a mess. And like it's a bummer because they have really, really sweet moments together. But like this is just I don't know that this is a healthy match. Also,
Yeah.
I think part of the reason that he ultimately downplays his interest in Kata is that Kata is simply not that interested in Sincere. Like their chat
Yes.
is so unromantic. They talk about random things like, do you like to eat pineapple on pizza? What's your dog's name? Like it truly is devoid of sexual tension.
Right.
Afterwards, however, Sincere is like, I now have 2 fishes in my basket, and they are both beautiful. And I will be staring into the icebox and
Yeah.
looking at my beautiful fishes. One fish is Melanie, one fish is Kata. Does the Kata fish want to be in my icebox? Certainly not.
Right.
Do I care? Also, certainly
And the
not.
second fish thought that she was the only fish in the icebox. So no
She
one's
doesn't have to
happy with the
know.
situation. But he's like, "I caught 2. Why do I have to throw one back?" And I was like, "Well, Sincere, because they're not fish, they're women, and they can decide whether they wanna be in the basket or not." But this is the thing, he thinks that he and Kata had a good connection and they vibed. She didn't feel that way, but he's like, "Amazing, I can't wait to explore things with Kata," and then he's downplaying it to Melanie. Okay, dude, like, whatever. He doesn't tell Melanie that he was gonna talk with Kata. She sees him talking with someone, but she finds out that it was Kata from Anaya, not from Sincere. And she immediately starts to get emotional. She says guys are always infatuated with her at first and then get bored. She says Kata's name correctly several times in this scene with Anaya, and this is of note because later to Sincere, she pretends she doesn't know Kata's name and then calls her Katie. I'm like, that's
Ma'am,
misdirected pettiness.
there's a lot of misdirected pettiness towards Kata from Melanie
Yeah, like
in this stretch.
it's not Kata's fault that Sincere is being a little bit shady with you, a little bit
All Kata
slimy.
did is share her dog's name, okay? Let
Yeah,
her
it's Kata's
live.
job to have conversations.
But
And
Mel
then
really starts to spiral after the next challenge. The Islanders all participate in a challenge by the pool. I feel like they're really making an effort in this season to force them into the pool because the theme on past seasons has been like, why is no one ever in the pool? So they all stand by the edge of a pool and one at a time they read a confession off of a card And then that person has to guess which islander goes with that confession and then like push them in the pool.
And during this challenge, Melanie learns that Sincere has a history of texting other women even when he's dating someone.
And that is a genuine red flag. He's like, don't we all? Sincere, no.
No, the fact that you think that's normal, no. And she obviously has spoken about her history of dating cheaters and her fear about like growing trust. And so this really throws her. And it seems like combined with hearing that he pulled Kata when he played down his interest in Kata to her so much is leading her to this conclusion that he's going to explore and so she needs to explore too, that she can't be more committed than he is. She's like, I don't care if he wants to explore. I'm a Dora. I don't give a fuck. But she does care. She didn't want that to be their story, their dynamic. But now that she sees the signs that he wants to explore more, she becomes very, like, vengeful about it. Like, it's not that she
Ugh,
genuinely wants to explore, she just wants him to see her exploring.
right. It's just unfortunate because it has the opposite impact of what she wants.
Of course.
Of course.
Like,
Predictably so.
she's like, "Men are obsessed at first and they get bored." And I'm like, "Well, you're beautiful, but it seems like maybe you struggle to communicate effectively in relationships, and it probably has this effect of making your relationships less strong and fulfilling than they could be."
Yeah, unfortunately. And again, I don't think that this dynamic is Melanie's fault. I think it's both of their faults. But unfortunately, we don't really see her have like a truly vulnerable conversation with Sincere until maybe this last episode. And by that point, I think it's a little too late. Like the dynamic has been established and
Yeah,
it's bad.
things have curdled. And Sincere isn't sure how to navigate this well either. He chats with Casey after this and says he wants Melanie to know that he wants to be in their couple just as much as she does, but he also wants them to both have the ability to go explore if they want to. And the way that they are unable to effectively communicate about the
Right.
nature of their relationship for like 3 days is really hard to watch. It's like your only job here is to communicate about your relationship. And how are you
And
doing
also,
so bad?
everyone acknowledges that 3 days in, you're allowed to explore. So you should be able to just say that.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, why not just be open with her from the beginning instead of like showering her with all of this like affirmation and reassurance that you're never going to make her feel unsure. Like she should feel unsure. It's been 1 day. Like you're not in a committed
Exactly.
relationship. Side note, by the way, during this challenge, Trinity reveals that she once gave someone head in a car while her mom was driving it, and her explanation is that it was daylight savings time.
We never get further clarity on this.
What? I think she's like, "So it was dark." And I'm like, we didn't even know what time it was." So, like,
The
it
darkness is not enough cover. I'm sorry. Your mother is still in the car with
no
you.
one is like, "Wow, so you gave someone head, so it must have been 5 PM. It was probably still pretty bright." And she's like, "No, actually, it was dark." No, that's irrelevant to why everyone was shocked, Trinity. It's also funny how they've all done these, like, insane sexual things, and yet, no matter what they have done, when they hear what someone else has done, they're like, "She's a freak." Like, "That's crazy. I don't know if I can be around her." The thing I did was normal, though, because it was daylight savings time.
Incredible, incredible explanation for this. So at the end of the episode, Sincere tries to pull Mel for a chat, and predictably, it goes poorly. He's like, I did pull Kata, but I didn't say I wanted to explore our connection. This is him downplaying it because Kata does not want to explore their connection. He was
Right.
just in a confessional talking about all of her, quote, crazy attributes. These men love to talk about attributes, just
Yeah,
attributes.
everyone's looking for a woman with attributes,
Yeah.
you know?
Physical attributes, attributes, crazy attributes. Which are those? We will never find out. No one
Yeah.
needs to know.
The great thing about that is every woman has attributes, so you're never ruling anyone out, right?
Exactly.
Um,
uh,
and Melanie tells Sincere that she knows the way he moves. And this seems to be a reference maybe to the texting that he
yeah.
admitted to. And he doesn't like this.
I mean,
He's
he's
like,
thrown. He's like, "Wait, but currently in this conversation, I'm telling you that I'm really into you and I'm not trying to pursue Kata. And you're saying you're full of shit." I mean, she says, "I don't know
yeah.
how sincere you're being."
I mean, as the young ladies in the play The Importance of Being Earnest must learn, sometimes a name does not actually correspond with the actual qualities that a man has.
The attributes?
The attribute. Listen, Sincere has attributes, but which ones? Mel is just like pissed. She's like, now I have like two things that I just learned about you that make me feel less trustful, and I'm just gonna run with that. So she's like, see if you can find a connection. Just go and do your chats, do your thing, whatever. I'm gonna do the same. In her confessional, she says that she feels like this is just another man doing what a man does. She's like, he thinks he's gonna fool me, babe. No. She also starts talking to the women. I think about like, oh, if he's gonna cheat, I'm gonna cheat back. I haven't always done that, but like now at this point in my life, that's what I'm gonna do. And I think that
Ugh.
mindset clearly becomes activated in episode 3. And you can say it's unreasonable because it's so early, and it is early, but I think that he created that expectation in her.
I just think it was like a perfect storm of some just at least like minorly bad behavior on both ends, creating a really bad dynamic. And it
Yeah.
sucks.
I think they both handled it in ways that are specifically designed to trigger each other,
Exactly.
actually. So this brings us to episode 4. A new bombshell arrives during the Boss Bitch Challenge. So the Boss Bitch Challenge involves the women dressing up in neon business bitch ensembles, sort of like sexy Hallmark outfits, where it's just like,
I
I'm a
love it.
businesswoman, so I'm wearing a solid color suit.
I
So
I
funny.
love the theme challenges because they're so deranged.
Like I whenever I watch one of these challenges, I feel like I've left this dimension and entered another one.
And that's the way I like it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, more neon, more slime. It's like
Yeah.
sexy Nickelodeon.
Yes. Yes. It gives me that feeling that you get sometimes when you watch a reality show from a completely different country with a different culture and a different language, and you're
Right.
just like, "What are they doing?" But it's an American show.
Yeah,
And
you're
they're
like
speaking
legend. What
English.
was that show on Nickelodeon? Like Legends of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Hidden Temple?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what it was called? And I feel like it's like Legends of the Hidden Temple, all grown up and porny. Like,
Yeah. I mean, imagine how many kids are just like, I've always wanted to see Legends of the Hidden Temple made more porny now that I'm a grown up. So they're in their little neon business bitch ensembles. They each take a turn seducing their way down a conference table. Then they pick a villa crush to make out with. Then they go into a hidden room to connect their bonus, which is like they grab as many dollar bills as they can. Then they come back out to make out with their partner. But in the bonus room, Corbin is waiting.
he is
And
our
he's
newest bombshell, and he has attributes like height,
like height.
high height.
Yeah. He has the attribute of great height. And they all get to kiss him. And then he whispers, like, don't tell the boys.
I think this is Corbin's best moment because he really thrives when he's tall and not speaking.
Yeah. Or like just delivering the same line over and over,
Yeah,
which
no,
is what he
it's
gets to do.
exactly. It's like the perfect amount of talking for him. You
Yeah.
get his like voice of God voice. It's very deep.
Oh, yeah. It rumbles. You feel it
Yeah,
in your chest.
which for like a 22-year-old, you don't expect it.
Their voices usually haven't broken yet, you know? They're waiting to go through puberty. I'm so old I don't even remember when these things happen anymore. Yeah, so this is very an exciting, sexy secret for all the women. Also good challenge design because you might notice that, for example, Bea's red lipstick is destroyed by the making out, but no, because you saw her make out with her villa crush before going in, which allows it to remain a
Yeah, the
secret.
boys notice nothing.
They'll never know. Well, they do find out soon. But this whole challenge causes plenty of drama, which is the other part that I loved about the challenge design. Sometimes they feel truly pointless, like, let's just cover them all with slime.
Oh, this
There are,
one was
like,
good. This
4
one
different
was
ways to create
designed,
drama.
yeah, create like a little opportunity to throw shade, a little opportunity to explore with plausible deniability. Perfect.
Yes. So, the villa picking a villa crush to make out with, they all have to do it, so in a way, it's not a big deal, but you can still ruffle feathers. Kata picks Sincere, and he tells the camera afterwards that he didn't want the kissing to end. Now, Melanie doesn't see his confessionals, but I do think they are evidence that he is putting something out there that he is denying to her. Like, he's
100%.
constantly like, "Oh, I love kissing her. I never wanted to stop. Her kisses were 20 out of 10. They're so good." What the fuck is Melanie doing with that guy? It's like, okay, man. Mel kisses Casey, which is a continuation of her plan to explore with him, which seems to be bothering Anaya. I was rubbed the wrong way by this, that Mel, when she's venting to the other women, is kind of like, I'm gonna explore too. Like, I'm gonna pull Casey and keep trying to get to know him. And she's talking to Anaya, and Anaya's clearly kind of like,
Oh,
okay. Like, it's
it's a
early, they're
little
all
weird
exploring,
not
but it's
to acknowledge
insensitive.
it to her directly.
Right. To
Just be
not
like,
like
by the way, I really want to pull Casey.
right,
Just
that's not
you didn't want to be shady about it.
right. You're kind of disregarding Anaya's connection to KC here. You're not saying like, "Oh, just to let you know, I'm gonna pull KC." You're saying like, "And then I told him I'm gonna explore with KC," and Anaya's just irrelevant to that conversation in her eyes. Like,
I
I
was
thought
actually
that
a bit
was
surprised
rude.
that Anaya does not end up having a conversation with Mel about this directly. She
Yeah, in
seems to just
fact,
let it go ultimately.
she does. And I mean, maybe because Casey is not really entertaining it and Mel is not really serious about it.
Yeah.
But she also makes a little comment to him during this challenge, like, "Oh, you want another piece of this," or something that plays into this even more. But it just seems like it's for Sincere's
It
benefit,
is.
and it
It is.
disregards Anaya's feelings about it in a way that Mel does have a bit of a pattern of this, like making out with women during a later challenge just for the benefit of the boys. Like, she's always very focused on the boys' reactions. And Kenzie is the other one who causes notable drama because instead of dancing up on Zach during her turn, seducing her way down the table, she sort of like throws papers in his face and walks away. And Sean is really put off by this because he's like, she's being emotionally immature. She wouldn't even talk to him. She's not going to participate in the challenge with him. Like, this is childish.
He's like, the punishment does not fit the crime.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with Sean, but I also don't care if Kenzie gives Zach a lap dance or not. I actually thought it
That's the
was much
thing.
worse that she wouldn't have a conversation with him.
I would agree. The other piece of this challenge that creates the opportunity for drama is that each woman has to read a question like, who should be fired from the villa? And choose a person that is the answer to that question. And that person gets dunked into slime. Again, very Nickelodeon core.
Yeah, Slime is the star of this episode. And Melanie slimes Kata for who should be fired. And it's really awkward, especially because she's sort of like faux sweet about it and is like, Kata, like, I'd love to slime you, girl, like, all love.
I
And
hated
Kata's like,
this.
fake love, fake love. It's
I, like
just,
Kata, would be very put off by this.
I actually think it would be more chill to be like, Kata, I'm sorry, I have to go with like the newest person, or like something that doesn't feel so fake. And like, I mean, maybe that would seem fake too, but like to be like, I'd love to slime you, girl, is just like, what?
No, she's being pointed about it.
Right. Kata then slimes Sincere because her question is, who needs a promotion from their couple?
Yikes.
Shots fired. And what I will say is that Melanie looks pissed, but in her confessional later, she's like, I did start it and I own that. So fair play.
Good job, Mel. You do get credit for that. Trinity slimes her own partner, Bryce, for a question about who is faking it. And he is like deeply wounded. And when she returns from like accounts payable or whatever, he decides to exact his revenge by kissing her really hot and heavy. He's like, I
Yeah.
will show you, faking it my ass.
These, again, like, such, like, porn and erotica flavored, like, mindset sometimes on these shows. It's like, "I'm gonna punish her with the hottest kiss she's ever had, just to make her know, like, what she could have." It's like, I don't think that's a punishment.
Bryce and Trinity really have come so far since the beginning of the week.
They've I, like, love them now. What's
Same,
happened to
same.
me?
I don't look.
I mean,
Love Island moves
Trinity
quickly.
I barely noticed Trinity at first, except that, like, she had super contradictory ideas of what she wanted in men, like a golden retriever, alpha male, or whatever. But, like, at some point I looked up and I was like, I think Trinity is my favorite person on this
Oh, I
season.
love her. I love her and I
She's
love her
so
and Bryce
great.
together. Like, what has happened to me?
Ugh, I know. Bea slimes Kenzie because she's pissed with her about talking to Gabrielle. And I think this is actually another great thing about this challenge. It's not even that it's stirring up drama. It actually just like gives people an icebreaker to talk about the thing that they actually needed to talk about. Cause then they like all have conversations and hash these things out.
Yeah, Kenzie handles this really well, actually. And so does Bea. Kenzie's basically just like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Bea's like, I slimed you because you talked to Gabrielle without talking to me. And Kenzie's like, I should have done that. I'm sorry. And Bea's so pleased that she immediately starts being magnanimous about how tough it is for Kenzie to be single. And she ends the conversation by being like, I'm going to make sure you get to talk to Corbin first when he arrives to the
So
bombshell.
Corbin does officially join the villa. And this is when the men learn that the women have met him before.
Yes. And they try to be cool. They're obviously not thrilled, and they decide to just sort of watch closely and do some body language analysis while Corbin is holding court with all the ladies. Like,
Especially Zach.
I mean, listen, Zach loves One Direction. Zach likes Taylor Swift. Zach has clearly been studying the Gospel of People magazine and Us Weekly. Like, Zach is into girl culture, and I think that it's my favorite thing about Zach.
Oh, it really warms me to him.
He's like, his
Unfortunately,
arms are positioned like this. He's clearly open to her. Like, this man was reading Brangelina, like markups 20 years ago.
I'm like, was he born?
He wasn't born. No, he wasn't doing that. He couldn't read. Just kidding. But we also see what's actually happening, of course, up close. And Corbin is just immediately putting me off because he has nothing to say to these
He
women.
is a truly blank slate. I was like, oh, this man is so pretty and dumb as rocks. Like,
Yeah, I did. It took me a while to kind of clock it because the women were all acting so feverishly overexcited. But I was more and more just like, what is he saying to them? Really? He's like, what do you think about me? Oh, do you find that attractive? Really? What else do you find attractive about me? Oh, that's nice. Uh, what else do you think about me? Do, do you have any thoughts? Do you have any flirtation or like questions to bring to the
the
table
thing
about
is, it
them?
doesn't really matter at this point because there are two women with particular missions. Kenzie, who
Mm.
does not want to be single and vulnerable, and finally is like someone I find super attractive, and maybe he'll be into me too. And then Melanie, who's like, I also find Corbin super attractive. Maybe I can use him to get back at Sincere.
Yeah. So she's like performing for the cheap seats, right? Like she's not acting for film. She's doing Broadway. She is gesturing big. She's leaning forward to like fully face Corbin. The women sitting on her other side are kind of like, lean back, please, excuse us. Like we can't see the show. And Sincere is watching all of this and he's like, she's being too excited. This is too much. This doesn't feel good. At one point, we see Kenzie sort of gently even push Mel's shoulder back and is like, I'm like, move back, brah. And Trinity's like, sit back. You right there, mama. Like, they're like, please let us see Corbin. And she chill out.
She does not chill out. Instead, she just pulls Corbin. And Bea is pissed because she was on a mission to make sure that Kenzie got to talk to Corbin first. I
Yeah.
don't think she had actually said that to Mel, but
Yeah. I was like, you gotta tell Melanie about the plan if you want her to follow the plan. But I think there is also sort of an unspoken, much like on The Bachelor, where it's like, shouldn't you let the woman who didn't get a date this week talk to before the person with the group date rose like pulls him for a chat? Shouldn't we let her talk to the Bachelor first?
I also think that this is fueled by the fact that several of the women are just like ever so slightly annoyed by Mel.
Yeah. I mean, she has been taking up a disproportionate amount, I think, of the emotional air in the room. And she also just like body blocked them from talking to Corbin. So she's starting to get on some nerves.
Sincere does, in fact, notice, and he's going through it. He's going through it so much that he has to experience all 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
We all know the stages of grief, all 7
Yeah.
of them.
Anger, denial, bargaining, sadness, acceptance, retaliation, and
Fish.
secret kissing of secretly kissing fish. He's gonna write the updated book. So Melanie and Bea end up getting into it when Melanie returns from this chat. And she's like giddy. She's eager to tell them all about her talk with Corbin. And they're not really interested. Bea tells her that was a little excessive. She calls out the fact that Mel was leaning over towards him, blocking Kenzie, who is single. And she's like, that was a little rude. I think that seems fair. They were all talking about this while Mel was gone. Bea is the one who takes the lead on saying it directly to her face. Mel says, yeah, that was my bad. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't do it on purpose. She's like, that's just how I am. I just really make eye contact with people. I just really face them. She says, like, kind of to Trinity, I think. She's sort of like, my bad. I think Kenzie at that point had gone to have her talk.
Yeah.
And Bea is not satisfied.
No, unfortunately, this ends up escalating because Bea wants to extract like a greater apology from
Yeah.
Melanie, and I wonder if she thought that like the other women were going to jump in, but the truth is none of them are annoyed enough to want to like get into active conflict with Mel.
Yeah. Trinity seemed satisfied with the like, my bad. I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, she's like, okay, it's been said, moving on. But Bea's not ready to move on, and it just devolves. And Melanie ends up walking off pissed. She goes into her confessional and she's like, I don't know what the fuck her problem is, but she definitely needed to fix her fucking tone. She's like, if you're mad, be mad, but I'm going to be composed. She is not composed in this moment.
Yeah, she's not. But by that point, she is not with the women,
She's
right? Like,
removed herself.
and something that she talks about in the confessional is that she clearly feels very aware of the fact that her behavior is going to be hyper scrutinized, and it is being hyper scrutinized, and she has made a lot of like selfish or inconsiderate choices, but she seems really aware that people are going to be paying attention to whether she flies off the handle. Like, as a
No, it
woman of
must be
color, of course
really,
she's aware of that.
of course. And also just being on a show with the reach of Love Island, right? Like this is a season where these people are going in understanding how picked apart they're going to be.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I think that like every woman of color who goes on a reality show has this awareness that like
100%.
they can't get angry, yell, like say crazy things in conflict because it will not be overlooked or applauded in them. And like that is unspoken, but it seems like so clearly present to me in what she says.
Absolutely.
And so what she's trying to do is just like when she starts getting emotional, she kind of like tells Bea to relax, and like Bea tells Mel like, well, this has happened before, but she can't give any specific examples. And Mel is just like getting very heated, and she tries to leave before she gets to a point of like completely losing it. She tries to grab Kata. She's like, I need somebody to talk to. But obviously, Kata doesn't want to be that person because they have just barely started to mend things. And so she walks off. Anaya goes after her, and Mel's going, give me 10, give me 10, give me 10, give me fucking 10. Like, she's like, I just need space to process this so that I don't crash out. I was kind of annoyed that this was then framed as her crashing out. Like, she's clearly trying so hard to manage her feelings in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, you can say, well, she should be able to take that kind of feedback without having such big emotions. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, I think
But
that like neither person here behaved perfectly. I don't think that should be the bar for any human, and especially not on reality television, because then like truly what the fuck are we watching if
yeah.
everyone's going to behave in a perfect way all of the time? I don't think that it's a bad thing to walk off. I also think that Mel is making this season about 10 times more interesting than it would
Yeah.
be without her.
Yeah, like, everyone cannot be playing things completely chill, and Bea too, like, I don't co-sign all of her choices here in terms of conflict resolution. Like, I do think that if someone has acknowledged that what they did was their bad,
Move
sometimes it's
on.
better to move on, and it can come off as kind of a dominance play to try to extract more from them.
Which Trinity ultimately says to her. I think
Yeah.
what frustrated me most about all of this was not the behavior on the show, but actually the discourse around it and the way that it feels like people are rushing to like label Melanie like the new Huda, like to put her into a box of being like an emotionally unregulated and like at worst, given what we have now seen from Huda over the last year, like a person who might put other people into like truly dangerous situations. And I feel like that is really, really unfair. And that level of scrutiny seems to kind of only exist for the women on these shows.
Yeah, like, I think that her behavior has been picked apart to the extreme. There's a lot to criticize there, like, the way that she behaves at times is quite
I don't love it.
problematic. It's yeah, I don't always love it, but that is part of creating the drama of a reality show, and I don't think that she has crossed any lines. I think that she has not also been alone in creating this dynamic with Sincere. Like, I just am really bothered by the fact that now we have to, like, turn this whole discourse into, let's figure out which woman is gonna be the next Huda and is toxic and has
I
to be
know. We
ousted from
we
the
all just
show.
have to take a fucking collective
Right.
deep breath.
Like, maybe she can grow in the show. We have certainly seen that in the past, but now we're all so
I'm
convinced
like,
that, like, everyone's just gonna be in a death spiral to hell.
right. Like, y'all, we're in week 1.
Yeah.
We're in week 1. Let's just let them all cook.
And she's had some moments, but she's also had some moments where she's taken accountability, and, like, then maybe sometimes she has downplayed her accountability, and, it's been uneven, but that's part of the storytelling of the show.
Exactly. One more thing that I did want to discuss before we take a quick break and move on to episode 5 is that there is an exchange between Bea and Gabe that I did not love. Um, we learn that both Gabe and Bea have dated people or hooked up with people at least who are significantly older than them, which, okay. But something that really stuck out to me is that Bea, when she learns that Gabe once hooked up with a 52-year-old woman, she's like, does the plumbing still work like that at that age?
What?
I was like, are young women truly out here being like, once you hit 50, women are physically incapable of having sexual interactions? Like your body just shuts that shit all down for then the next 30 to 40 plus years of your
It's
life.
over. This is especially funny because men actually can have significant plumbing malfunctions as they age.
Well, yes, that's why we have many easily available on the market drugs for that.
Exactly. Like, you think that women can't have sex in their 50s? And, like,
It's like, sure, there are perimenopause symptoms that we can get into that are, understudied and underexplored, but
it's
there are
eminently
there are
possible.
many, 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 many women in their 50s having active, fulfilling, wonderful sex lives.
Yeah.
And
And
girl,
Gabe then, like, later admits that his ex like, reveals that his ex was 18 years older than him. So I was like, okay, so he's, like, into older women. Like, this is two women. Like,
do
he's
you think he's going to show up on
wasn't.
Age of Attraction?
I would love that. I'm like, yeah, let's get more cross promo going. Even though I don't like Gabrielle very much. But and she's shocked by that too. But then she reveals that her ex was also 20 years older than her. So I guess she's just fully in that old school societal mindset that, like, it's totally normal that older men are, like, virile and have a lot to bring to the table, but, like, once you reach a certain age as a woman, you are, like, sexually
Neutered.
no longer viable, and, like, as a woman, it's, like, really heartbreaking that we internalize this because, like, that's your future, Bea.
Well, that's
Like,
the thing.
believe in your own future of sexual fulfillment.
It made me so sad. Like by the narrative she's telling herself, she has another 20 years of being allowed to have
At
sex.
most, yeah.
Like, dream
When does she
bigger.
think the plumbing stops working? Like, who knows? You're not even gonna reach your sexual prime for another, like, decade and a
I
half.
know. No, I just found this really, really depressing. And there's just so much internalized misogyny that so many of us have to work through. And it was just a really big bummer.
Yeah.
And that double standard is especially disturbing when you consider the fact that she then says that this relationship with this much older man was really bad for her.
Yeah. No, it's really sad. Like, I think a lot of young women on these shows bring in a lot of, like, really difficult prior experiences with dating that really shape their mindsets, and we just watch the fallout.
Yeah. So,
Um,
Bea, don't panic. You can still have sex when you're 52. You
Absolutely.
can. It's
I've heard it
possible.
from reliable sources. On that note, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, episodes 5 through 7.
And we are back. And I will say that things take a turn for the better between Bea and Mel in episode 5 because ultimately they end up having some healthy conflict resolution. Anaya goes to comfort Mel in the immediate aftermath. Trinity talks to Bea and does gently point out to her that maybe she could have just let the whole thing go after Mel's first acknowledgement. She's like, I get where you're coming from, but I also think that maybe it could have come off as if you were trying to have the last word.
Yes. And so they give each other some, like, the other women give them a little bit of perspective and, like, calm them down a little bit. Bea doesn't seem to care that much what anyone has to say. She's just like, I just want Melanie to correct her behavior. I said what I meant. I don't care that much. And Trinity's like, okay.
Okay.
um, After this, Mel goes to Sincere and asks him to be in friend mode so she can vent. And he listens and comforts her really well. But it turns out that in secret, he is extremely ticked off. Like, I feel like he shows a side of himself to her in these moments that is, like, so idealized and affirming. But then he's like, and I resented that.
I also think he truly could have been like, wait, what do you mean friend mode? In the moment. He
Right.
could have been annoyed by the request in the moment. It would have been fair game to me to be like, I don't know that I really want to hear you talk about your chat with Corbin
In friend
in
mode.
friend mode. Yeah.
Right, totally valid to me. I also, and we'll get to this, don't know if I totally believe her explanation of this, but we'll get to that. Let's close the loop on Bea and Melanie, because they do end up making up later this episode.
And it's lovely.
They both explain why they felt disrespected and frustrated, and they seem to both be ready to like let it go. And then they have a conversation about the boxes that women are pushed to fit into and how limiting that is. And then they all raise their hands together with all the women of the world and embrace the power of femininity.
And that's why Love Island is actually just a feminist treatise.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting because you could read this various ways. Like Melanie starts saying that she is actually kind of like jealous of Bea because she wishes she were athletic because Bea can have so much fun playing sports with the boys. And I was like, first of all, I'm like, maybe that's true. And sometimes we do like lash out at women out of insecurity, and it can be very mature to like acknowledge that. But it also is like a little bit like reductive and funny to me to be like, wow, you're a Paralympian. You can have fun with boys.
Well,
'Cause boys
again,
like
there's
sports.
the internalized misogyny has not left either of these women.
Right. And then Bea says, well, she worries she's too much like the boys and she needs to play into a feminine vibe to be there. Like she needs to act more feminine, and that's hard for her. She talks about how she was taught to be strong, so her tears couldn't be used against her since she was like very young. And she thinks it's really good that Melanie is in tune with her emotions. And they hug and they're good again. I was like, that's so nice. Like maybe they both shared something that makes them insecure about the other person and they're closer. And that's so sweet. And then Melanie goes to chat to Corbin and immediately says something dismissive about how the girls were mad that she pulled him first. And she's like, or some of them were.
And then I did start to get the sense that Bea still has some not great feelings about Mel in episode 7.
They
So
absolutely still have not great feelings about each
I think
other.
I was really touched by this conversation in the moment because I just do love to see women getting along. But like,
Yeah.
you
And like
know,
sharing their
yeah,
insecurities with each other can be nice because I do sometimes think you can just like lash out at each other instead of examining where that's coming from inside yourself.
exactly.
At least they
So,
tried.
it's a mixed bag. Corbin, meanwhile, is just out here exposing himself to the world.
As a
He,
lover boy.
as a lover boy,
He
he and
loves
every
love.
other man on this season, they are all lover boys. I'm like, this is core to Gen Z culture. This is what I'm learning. They're like,
Yeah.
I know I can't say that I'm a nice guy. That's bad. What I can say is I'm a lover boy.
Yeah. I'm the opposite of a fuck boy.
Yeah, like you can't call me a fuckboy because I told you I'm a lover boy.
Just think if they made F Boy Island now, it would be the F boys and the lover boys. Like the nice guy archetype found like dead in a ditch. It's over. So first he chats with Kenzie and he tells her that he would like to kiss her again so he can remember their kiss from the challenge. And Kenzie is into his whole deal and she's single, so she happily makes out with him. She also tells him during this conversation that he's like the only guy here she's really attracted to, even though she's been acting very differently with Sean. And this becomes a pattern with Kenzie where a new guy comes in who's like a tick more her type. And she's like, finally, someone I'm actually attracted to.
Kenzie, you just said that about this other man.
Right.
But Corbin is like, wow, that really worked for me. So I'm going to try using the exact same line on another woman. Kata is next up for a chat. And so he's like, can I have a kiss so I can remember what happened during the challenge? Except much deeper. And Kata is not down. She's like, no, I think you have to like, I think we're going to wait on that one. Like, I want to get to know you a little bit better. And he keeps pushing it.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Kata's like, I would like the men to stop pressuring me for tongue, please. I thought that I would have a little bit more control over that, especially like outside of challenges to be doing this much making out. Like, let her live. She's just trying to chat. So she immediately goes back and tells the rest of the girls, and this is a big ick for a lot of the women and really upsets Kenzie. Some other things came out of these conversations that I think are worth touching
I
on.
think they just really shed light on Corbin's vibe, which
Yeah.
is emptiness.
Yeah. he tells Kenzie that he's never been to a concert because he can just look at clips on YouTube.
I was like, the death of culture is here.
Well, this is the
We
thing,
need
he's
to
never
just
been to a
ban
concert, so he
short
doesn't know
form
how different
content.
it is. I mean, we should. I need short form content to be banned, but, like,
Same, it's rotting my brain. Imagine if my prefrontal cortex had not
yeah.
formed.
I haven't been to a concert in years because of my children and how bad I am at getting babysitters, but, like, I can vaguely remember that it was different. I went to a soccer match in person this weekend, and I was like, "Oh my god, it feels so different to be at an event than it does to watch it on a screen." I was like, "I forgot how much better this is." Corbin, go to a concert. You're gonna love it. It's like YouTubing a clip times 1,000,000%. Like, it's gonna blow
Just
your mind. You're gonna
get
feel
out
like you're
into
on
the world,
drugs.
my guy. You deserve it.
That's so sad. Um, Also, I think a lot of people picked up on like, different vibes during his conversations, like, when Kenzie asks about his type, he's like, "You." And he's like, "I can't keep my eyes off your eyes." He's also really pursuing Kada, but with Trinity and Anaya, he's not as flirty, he's not as much trying to, like, make a move, he talks more about their family dynamics and goals, and when Anaya asks what his type is, he says he likes physical attributes,
You
and
know,
also, aside from that, personality. It's like,
because he doesn't want to say I like light-skinned women.
right, like, that is the vibe that's coming
Yeah,
across from the different way
strongly.
he's speaking to them, but physical attributes as a response just
Well,
remains incredible.
he likes them, the physical attributes, just like Kata, according to Corbin, likes to get flattered with all the words.
She loves to get flattered with all the words.
Does he know that there's like a linguistic shortcut called
For called
compliments?
compliments.
Yeah, there's a
I
term for that.
I also thought this was funny because, like, his whole conversational strategy the first time he met them was to basically solicit compliments, and when Kata says that, like, "Say more," after one compliment, he's like, "Oh, you like that, huh?" It's like,
All the
"Yeah,
words. You
you
want all
like
the
it."
words,
You
not
want
just
all the
one.
Oh, Corbin, I could see him gone tomorrow. He adds nothing.
He
Uh,
he adds nothing, but also like I feel that for my own personal entertainment, I did need him for at least a couple episodes.
yeah, I guess sometimes the clodishness, like, ends up translating into humor, but I was just like, I would love to just
Move right along from
move
this
along.
guy.
Kenzie finds out that Corbin used the same line on Kada to kiss Kada, and so she confronts him at the dock. And this is when she explains that she just really wants to be specifically pursued, like a gazelle being chased by a lion.
Kenzie, you gotta stop it.
She's like, like, don't you ever feel like you just want to be a lion and just, like, attack a prey animal and just devour her? He's like, I'm going to be all about you now. I'm just going to be thinking Kenzie, Kenzie, Kenzie. But he is still pursuing Kada as well, quite actively. Sincere and Melanie also, like Melanie and Bea, have a conversation and try to get back on track.
It goes fine, but of course, as we're gonna get to, the good vibes don't last for long.
Yeah, this is when he also brings up that she asked him to be in friend mode the night before. And she basically says that she just meant she wanted really blunt feedback and for him not to baby her. I don't know if I really buy that because she was
Right.
coming to him to be like, be on friend mode. I'm going to talk about how cute Corbin is. And it just kind of seemed like she partly at least meant take your feelings for me out of it and talk to me like a friend about this guy I think is cute.
No, you're so right because that is absolutely what she meant. I actually don't
Right.
think she wanted someone to be like blunt and not gentle with
Yeah.
her.
This is actually what I think they kind of share in common and why partly why they don't work very well is that they both want to have fun and explore and, like, act out in certain ways, but then when they're confronted with, like, the feelings of the person they hurt, they're like, "Oh, I don't like dealing with that, so I'm just gonna lie about it
Right.
real
That's not what
quick."
I meant. You
That's not what I meant.
misunderstood.
That's not what I did. That's not what I meant. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, Meanwhile, Casey and Anaya have a lovely conversation.
Yes. Casey and Anaya are a couple that I really didn't have a lot of faith in at first because, of course, they didn't really choose each other. They were like forced
Yeah.
together by default.
Well, and
And
who would choose
usually
Casey? He likes plants.
he
So,
doesn't like women. He's a
it's like-
plant guy.
yeah. But, and like this was edited in a little bit out of context. And so I think that led to some divided reactions on this conversation. It kind of seems that they're just sitting there and he's like, I just want you to know that I love dark skinned women like you. You guys get the short end of the stick. They try to put a negative connotation on you guys, but like, you're the blueprint. When I think of a Black woman, I think of you.
Yeah, he says, I love melanin.
Yeah. The subtitle, the captions had that down as I love Melanie. I was like, nope, specifically
Guys,
not.
no, no.
Um, but yeah, so that's like lovely. She receives it really well. And I think because it's just dropped in out of context, it's sort of like, why did he feel the need to reassure her about this? Why is he assuming that she's insecure? Like she says, like, oh, I love myself, basically. Like, but that's really lovely to hear. Some other people have wondered, like, well, was he responding to the fact that men in the villa are not really like
Mm.
pursuing her outside of him?
I also think that it has opened him up to people being a little suspicious of his intentions,
Hmm.
unfortunately, which I don't feel like is totally fair, but I have seen some chatter because he then says he's attracted to a bombshell who comes in later, Soul, who is
Hmm.
light skinned, that people are like, were you just being performative towards Anaya in this conversation? I hope not. I really like them together. I also think it's very possible that he has dated dark skin and light skinned women.
Right. You don't have to only
Yeah.
date one kind of person. I think what's tough is that we don't see very much of them. I think this was like the only conversation we saw with them between them, like this episode, or like we're just not seeing
They're not
enough to
giving
like
enough
really.
drama.
Well, that's the thing. And so I'm like, part of me is like, well, they just clipped out this moment because it was the most like interesting moment of their conversation, but we probably missed some relevant buildup or something. But out of context, it can look like he's just like getting on his soapbox out of nowhere.
Right.
And in the process, implying that she's insecure. And I think that's why it led to this
Divide.
divide. And I like Casey. And so I am definitely giving him a generous read on this because I think this made Anaya feel really appreciated. And I love that for them. So love it.
Don't worry, there's always room for us to turn on him. Just
Always.
not yet.
Um, Meanwhile, Trinity and Bryce also talk about their attraction to each other. I think these were like paired together very intentionally because she's like asking Bryce about whether they were like, did you have an ugly face growing up? And he's like, actually, no, I was so beautiful that I was bullied by jealous boys. So yeah, I was never ugly. And she says, well, I had an ugly face growing up. And I was too skinny for the beauty standard in the Black and Hispanic communities. Like people are looking for like a thick woman, and I'm not that. And right on cue, Bryce is like, well, I prefer your body type. Like that's really what I'm looking for.
I was like,
Like,
Bryce. Oh, Bryce. Oh, wow. Wow. You a white man. You actually prefer the exact beauty standard of your community?
I'm shocked to
Give
hear
him a gold
this.
star.
And her sort of model-esque like
Yeah.
physique, you as a model, that's something that you're comfortable with, a white male model. Yeah, this was I was like, I don't feel like you're fully clocking into what she's talking about
Yeah,
here. You're
I
just
don't
like,
think
don't worry, I love skinny women.
yeah, I don't think that was the response maybe that you needed to give, but okay.
At least it contained the important part, which is that he is attracted to her.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm
I
like,
do
great.
believe that he is genuinely really into Trinity.
Yeah, they're sneaking up on me.
Yeah, it's shocking. I really thought that she had gotten the ick
Yeah.
from him and that I sort of agreed with her that maybe he was like faking it and they were fully on friend mode.
Well, but
But
they have a conversation after she slimes him where he's like, I thought we were laying the groundwork. Like we came back together and we have such a great time together. I thought we were just like really building the base, but like I don't want you to think that I'm not actually interested in you. And she's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So let's
Guess
build
you
a base
are.
then. Let's do it.
And this actually ends up establishing a pretty healthy communication dynamic between the two of them.
And I actually think Trinity is like one of the most mature, healthy
I
communicators in
agree.
the
It is
villa.
impressive.
Yeah, I just like really like her.
Me too.
And like Bryce, their dynamic is really cute, and they like gossip together, and he like shares all the tea from the bed challenge later with her, and she like does his nails. Like they're just like pals,
It's
but
working for
sexy
me.
pals.
So this is when we get our first true recoupling. The women are going to have the power, except Corbin gets a text, a secret text, letting him know that he will actually have the power to choose first. Ariana has all of the islanders gathered by the fire pit and tells them about the twist. Since Corbin's only been in the villa for 24 hours, he gets to choose first. He will not be in danger of going home. And Corbin chooses Kenzie because of their quote flowing conversation.
That is not how it came across to me. Something was flowing. Saliva.
He's like, I can't be bothered by a woman who needs to be flattered by all the words.
Then the girls get to choose. Anaya chooses Casey, Melanie chooses Sincere, Kata chooses Zach, Bea chooses Gabrielle, Trinity chooses Bryce. And this means that Officer Sexy Pants Sean, who we have not mentioned in probably an hour, is heading back to Pennsylvania.
I'm so sorry to you,
He
Sean.
was dumped from the villa.
But he takes this in stride. He's like, I'm ready to see my baby boy. I want to teach my son that it's cool to try.
I feel this is a very funny way to frame going on Love Island. It's like, I can't wait to show my son me telling a bunch of women I just met that I want to fuck them from behind, grab their neck, and spit in their mouth,
Yeah,
and be like, see how cool
called
it is to try.
that's beautiful.
Okay.
That's called
That's,
good
yeah.
parenting.
Mm-hmm. I should do. No, I'm not gonna say I should do more of that. I'm gonna get CPS called on myself. Yeah, so he's headed back. He had put his eggs kind of in the Trinity and Kenzie baskets, but his biggest hope was Kenzie. Kenzie doesn't end up getting a choice, and she tells Kata that she doesn't know how to feel because she was going to choose Corbin, but she's still sad that Sean is leaving. She still wanted to explore that connection.
This girl likes to have a roster. Never fear, Kenzie. You will get it.
She's always like, I don't know what it's like to have a roster. I'm just like a one woman man. I'm like, Kenzie, you're doing amazing, sweetie. You're stacking them up.
As we head into episode 6, we really get more on this Kenzie Corbin dynamic, and it's rough.
Oh, this conversation after the coupling, I was like,
Stultifying.
this is highlighting all the things that annoy me the most about both of them, because he has nothing but empty compliments for her about how easy his decision was. And Kenzie keeps being like, your hands are so big. What sports did you play growing up?
See, the thing about Corbin is he's tall and has muscles.
I'm sorry, I feel like when you are talking to men of color and you keep bringing this kind of thing up about the size of their body parts and the sports that they played growing up, you don't even know he played sports. Like, she's just like, which sports were they? Like, it comes across as a little microaggressive to me.
Yeah, like a little fetishy.
Right. I'm just like, when she meets a white bombshell later, she does not talk to him in quite the same way.
Yeah.
And so this like rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Obviously, we don't see their whole conversation, but I was like, "Ugh, God." And then she's like, "Oh, so you play basketball? What position did you play?" And he's like, "I don't know." First of all, weird. Then he says he thinks he plays small forward, and she doesn't know what that is. I was like, "What is going on in this conversation?" Like, you're having a conversation about sports that he doesn't know if he played, and you don't know what the positions of the sport are. Like, why are you talking about this?
These two, it's fucking bleak.
They talk again the next day, and she tells him that his eyes are like a lion's, and he's like I'm hunting, and I'm like, this is now the third time that you've done this.
She's
Kenzie.
like, yeah,
you need to stop.
you need to know I'm a gazelle.
I'm a gazelle, and you're a lion with big hands, who's athletic.
Big paws.
And Then they have this conversation where about his fantasies and, like, how he wants to do some, like, kinky shit, like using handcuffs and blindfolds and trying to find each other in the bed.
I forgot. I forgot that this had happened. I'm like, is Corbin an oracle?
Well, Corbin and Melanie both apparently predict things that happen this episode, which is wild. Like, there's something in the water here. They're developing a third eye. But, like, at the point that this happened, all I thought was, like, he's acting very weird. It's almost like he's like then he says, "I've never done 69." I was like, "I'd love to do that." It's just very much like he's a horny 12-year-old in the body of a hot adult man. Like, the way he talks about it is so, like, childlike and, like, eager to me. And so I was like, "Please stop talking about your fantasies." But it turns out that it was actually very important scene setting for what's about to come.
One of his fantasies is about to come true.
Big day for Corbin.
Everyone is feeling pretty good at this point, which is how you know some shit is about to go down. You can't be getting too
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah, 100%. Like, they are gonna throw a bomb in there. The only couple that isn't seeming to feel super, like, happy and bonded after the recoupling is Bea and Gabrielle. A lot of people noticed this, that, like, when she was giving her little speech about why she was picking him, he just didn't seem as much like he was paying attention or excited about it as the other guys were.
And to her credit, she brings this up directly.
She's very direct. And she's like, Casey was like grinning. Bryce like skipped over to Trinity. And he's like, well, it's harder for me to speak from the heart in another language. She switches to Spanish because it's closer to Portuguese. And he tells her he's very happy with her and he likes her the way she is. And that seems to like help them resolve this. And I was sort of mixed on this because I was like, well, the language barrier must be a huge challenge to like get settled as well as like for communicating. But also, like, the two things she referenced were men showing nonverbal enthusiasm. Like, you could have given her a big smile and like run over there
We also
without.
see later that he's quite willing to explore coupling up with a woman who doesn't know any languages other than English.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I do think some of it's true that it's probably tough for him to adjust, and she's the only person that he really feels that he can be more himself with. But also, he's using that to kind of mask
He's like, I
his
love
lack
that
of
I can be
investment.
myself with you. Does that mean we're going to stay together?
Negative.
No.
That night, they have a slumber party.
Or as Ian
Um,
Sterling calls it, essentially a televised orgy.
they all wear all white boxers for the men and lingerie for the women. They do some completely insane, like humping, dancing, pillow fighting for a montage. And there is only one bed, but it's
One
huge.
giant fucking bed.
It's a bed the size of a dance floor.
This is also when we get what I think is like one of Ariana Madix's best looks.
She
Because
looks
she
like
is
a
on
sexy
scene.
sugar plum fairy.
It's so good. Yeah, she's a mix between like a fembot and a
Mhm.
sexy sugar plum fairy. And
Yeah.
it's just this like tulle beaded, bejeweled, like bra duster. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
so
so good.
It makes up for the weird reptilian dotted jumpsuit she was wearing the day
I
before.
hated it. Also, did you notice
So
that there were just like chunks of her hair that
Yeah.
weren't laid
Oh,
flat?
yeah.
It
Oh,
started
yeah.
to make me
I
insane.
think that was intentional, but it didn't work. Like, it
What
looked like they were trying to do some sort of, like,
I
twists on top,
look,
but it
I
didn't work.
generally give her stylist a lot of credit and her hair and makeup people, but like it was just a full miss.
When you take risks, sometimes you will miss,
Yeah.
You
And
miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But when you do take shots,
you can
you
also
also
miss them.
miss some of them.
I know that because I have been watching the NBA finals.
Right. Now that you watch basketball, you know probably what a small forward is, and you know that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but you also miss shots when you take them sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
So
learning so much, and that's why it's really important to be a sports fan.
it's so important. So they play this game where the boys are locked with like a silken handcuff to the headboard. The girls are blindfolded and they have to feel around the bed to find their man. They each have like two like saddle bags
It's
with
so funny.
paint in their own unique paint colors so everyone will see who they've touched and like where. And they all play this game a little bit differently. Like Trinity goes right in for the kiss with each of the guys, but when she gets to Bryce, she's just like, "This is him," and she stops and like you then put your hand in a handcuff next to your guy. When Melanie goes, she gets to Sincere, and then she keeps going to the last guy, Corbin. And she goes back and forth between Sincere and Corbin for a while,
Oh,
making out. And
it's like,
she's
girl,
losing the whole audience here,
Mel,
including Corbin. Corbin is like getting the ick from this.
she's doing a little too much.
Yeah. And Sincere is so wounded. Corbin is like, she must have felt his bun. So, like, why would she need to do
I just feel
this?
like if Corbin, arguably one of the dumbest men on this earth, can see through what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's not subtle enough.
Yeah. Although, is part of it because he would never seem that interested in Mel? Like, I feel like she's not one of the women he was most all about. But no, I think that he's also like put off by the little act she's putting on. All of the
Everyone is
guys
sort of
are.
like, what is she doing? Because it's not just like
Yeah.
she went in for a kiss and then went back. Like she didn't just do it twice. It
Yeah.
extended for a long time.
This is one of the things about the challenges that is so good for TV drama and seems so hard to navigate to me is that, like, if everyone plays it completely safe, it's not fun. They're not exploring. There's no show. But, like, where is the line? Like, you're in this challenge that is specifically created to blur the usual line. And so you're like, I'll have fun. I'll play it up. Then you cross the line and now everyone's mad at you. And so I sometimes do end up feeling for people when they step over that line
I
because
do too.
it's
Because
hard to know where it is.
I think it is intentionally murky, and it is
Mhm.
intentionally murky because they want there to be drama like this.
100%. Like, that is the goal of production.
Of course.
This is also when Mel goes in to make out with Trinity, um, which was obviously like she has shown no interest in the
Dating
women
women.
romantically.
Yeah,
It's so
it
the guys will think it's hot.
it felt just like so obviously performative for the benefit of like the straight male gaze, and I saw like several queer content creators pointing this out and just being like, this is annoying. Like literally all of the other women were blindfolded.
Right. They couldn't even see
Yeah,
if they
they could.
wanted to.
Yeah, this is only for the benefit of the straight men.
Yeah. Anaya and Kata go last, and they don't even really kiss all the dudes. Anaya basically just feels around on people's packs until she finds Casey. And I will say that is like sweet and like considerate of Casey. But if everyone did that, it wouldn't be a fun
Yeah, I think
challenge.
Anaya could have made out and it would have been fine.
Yeah, make out a little bit. But I do think that also there is a degree of like she has kind of tried to explore with some of these men and no one has been receptive to her. And you can even see Corbin like kind of like shying away from her when
Oh, I
she's
didn't
feeling
notice
him,
that.
which I was like, okay, man, this is the challenge. I feel like she has not had the options that whereas Kenzie like
Yeah.
completely melted down about not having options, Anaya also has not really had much in the way of men showing real interest in her, except like Casey only really.
Bea also stops once she recognizes Gabe, which is like basically right away. So they've all like successfully found their partners. The thing that is happening concurrently with this challenge is that two bombshells have arrived and they are not blindfolded. First, we meet Soul, 24-year-old from California, who has a gorgeous pixie cut. We
I
love to
love
see
her
it.
hair. It's like curly and like very short
No,
pixie.
she is
Such a good look.
stunning. I could not stop staring at her.
A curly
Uh,
pixie is like one of my favorite like haircuts. It's just you don't see it enough.
no, and I'm always jealous of it because
Yeah.
simply could not pull it off.
I cut my hair short in high school because there was an older like girl at my school who had like a gorgeous curly pixie and I was like my hair's going to look like that and it did not at all. It
Look,
was
some of
so
us,
bad.
I too have cut my hair too short before, and it's like we get humbled sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you realize that your hair won't turn into like a little crown of
Yeah.
ringlets. And KC says he's a sucker for a pixie. It exudes confidence. And Soul says she's drawn to Corbin, Casey, and Sincere. Um, I love a man who loves a pixie. A lot of men think that you have to have long hair to be a desirable woman, which is so limiting. Next, we meet Jen, a tall blonde with green eyes, big boobs, and a big heart,
This
as
is
she
how she
says.
describes herself, to be clear.
Yeah.
Claire's like, just what I've observed
Just
is
some
yeah.
things I've noticed about Jen. Corbin has a big reaction to her. I was like, oh, he does like blondes. And Sincere also really enjoys making out with her. Sincere is just talking a lot about how much he loves making out with these bombshells and how he doesn't want it to stop and how good it is. That just like is sort of at odds with how pissed he is that Mel is also enjoying the bombshells. So the bombshells come in with red paint. None of the other women had red paint. And so
And
when the blindfolds come off, they're like, what is all this red?
and Casey tries to do some gaslighting.
He's
Some
like,
obvious gaslighting that ignores the very basics of color theory. He's like, "Oh, it's just cuz like all of your paint mixed together and made
yeah.
red, notoriously a primary
You
color."
know, when you mix together yellow and green and you get a vibrant, rich red? I'm sorry. They teach this in kindergarten.
I
I
was
think
gonna
you
say I
know.
learned that in elementary school art
I think
class, and
we
it really
all
stuck with
know.
me.
We all know that that's not how it
We
works.
know that when you mix too many colors together, it tends to turn into like a horrible, like poopy brown.
Exactly. And then Ariana asks Casey how he's feeling about the bombshells, and he says he feels blessed. And Anaya is very upset. And I know, like, I think it could be said, like, you're doing too much over a joke. Some people thought she got too wounded, but like, she kept it very, very clean and tidy during this challenge. So I think she wanted a little reciprocation of that mindset here.
Also, we do see her in the next episode explain herself to Casey, and I think that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Bryce also reveals that he knows Jen, which, like, she does not acknowledge him in any way that I've seen during this episode and the
Yeah, people
next,
did
which is
some
weird.
sleuthing and very quickly discovered that they had like modeled for the same brand. So it
Yeah, which
makes
is
sense.
basically what
Yeah.
he says later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
He,
kind of
Jen,
odd that
and
he's like, I
Soul.
know her, but then they never speak about it and she doesn't acknowledge it. I don't know. Then Ariana introduces a boy bombshell, Caleb. He looks like a generic Southern frat boy, and he is 21, and
Why
he's
are
from
we
North
only
Carolina.
bringing fetuses in for the
I
ladies?
I can't take a 21-year-old seriously right now at this stage in my life.
I simply
There
cannot.
should be more 37-year-old bombshells.
I just mean like a 25-year-old.
Yeah, he's a little wet behind the ears. He says he'd rate himself a 9 out of 10, and the missing one is the girl he's going to find in the villa. So he's looking for a 1, I guess.
The one, Claire.
I
It's a
think
little
he's
word play, okay? Maybe this is just like a little too advanced for you.
oh,
I don't think you're
Kenzie.
understanding the attributes he's looking for.
I don't understand the attributes. So the minute that the bombshell is introduced, Melanie is like shrieking and jumping around with excitement. Again, like some of the women are like, please move back so that we can see the bombshell. I'm like, Melanie, this is indeed proving to be a pattern. But she's like hitting Kenzie with the pillow. Kenzie is losing it because this man is her type.
Shocker.
She's like, fucking finally, Love Island gods.
Like
And I'm like,
finally a bland white man.
I was like, Kenzie, how many times can you be like, finally, actually, a man I'm attracted to? Like every episode, you're like, finally, I found a man I'm attracted to. And we finally, I guess we've actually worked our way to her real type that she didn't want to acknowledge until he arrived in the villa in front of us or something. And it's
Yeah.
literally just a boy version of her.
She's like a blonde man with a southern accent.
Yeah. And Caleb goes around kissing the ladies. The boys aren't so happy now that they're watching the ladies kiss. And that's about to cause some drama. In episode 7, our last episode that we have to discuss today. After this challenge, Sincere is really pissed that Melanie was overly excited about the bombshell, and the guys all basically agree. Zach is like, "Yeah, that was fucked." Kata tries to assure them that Melanie was just hyping up Kenzie because he was Kenzie's type. So she has shared with the other women, like they
Yeah.
all know that's her type. Sincere isn't buying it. So Kata runs over and tells Melanie that Sincere was upset about it. And Mel immediately says that she was hyping Kenzie up too, because she knew that was Kenzie's type. Do we believe her?
Maybe partially. I think she's doing both things. Like, I don't think that she has like intense interest in Caleb. Like,
No.
I do, however, think that she enjoys putting on a show for the benefit of Sincere. Whether that's
Yeah.
to like turn him on by making out with another woman or needle him by showing interest in another guy. She is managing her insecurities about the dynamic in like a very unhealthy way.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I don't think that she's interested in Caleb, but I think that she lays it on really thick in these moments for a cocktail of reasons. And Zach is also mad because Kata got too into kissing Caleb, and also it was worse for him because he had to see it with his eyes, and she just heard it when he made out enthusiastically with two different women.
I did not like this. The way that Zach starts acting towards Kata in this episode made me mad. He's got to get it together.
He really does. Like I think that he seems to feel weirdly insecure all of a sudden. Like I've gotten too invested and now like she could make out with a bombshell in front of me or
But
she
that's
could like
all in
leave
his
me.
head. It's
I
so
know. Cuz
frustrating.
she really likes him. I don't think she's actually done anything wrong.
No.
And
And also,
he's
if
going to
she
push her
wanted to
away
explore
acting
with
like
someone
this.
else, as they've all been saying about themselves, the guys, like the women are also allowed to explore.
Right. The guys spend a lot of time being like, "Oh, if we did that, they would be so
Oh,
mad." And
they
I'm like,
are.
"And look at you guys. You are
You're
so
mad.
mad."
You're
So
mad. Yeah, they're
like,
like, there's a double standard. I'm like, oh, because you've all been so fucking chill about everything. Take it
right.
down a notch. You're
What's the
all
double
acting
standard
out.
exactly? You all just made out with two women right in front of them. And but that doesn't count cuz they had blindfolds on. Meanwhile, you get to be more mad because they made out with one guy and they would be so upset if you did that. You did do that just now, moments ago, with two women. Like what are you talking about? They're so obsessed with the idea that there's a double standard because that can make it okay for them to be mad at the women for making
Right.
out with the bombshell. Anaya is pissed that Casey was joking about the bombshells. She's like, "I've always been so chill about the bombshells. I haven't made him feel weird about it." Casey, meanwhile, is telling the guys that Soul looks like his ex.
Yikes.
But the ladies are not actually focused on Boy Bombshell because they are all fully locked into mission get Caleb with Kenzie during their group chat. Everything he
Yeah,
says,
they
Kenzie is
know.
like basically swooning to the floor and orgasming. And the other women are like, "Right? Kenzie is your type, right? Like, I love that for you and Kenzie." They're like, "Do you like blondes with blue eyes?" And he's like, "Yeah, Kenzie's very pretty." Like, I don't even know that I think like he probably does think she's very pretty, but it's also clear that he can immediately read that she is
Oh,
his only
yeah.
option.
He's like, oh, I see what's happening here. My choice is Kenzie.
Yeah. And what am I gonna say? No, I'm not attracted to Kenzie. Like they'll all turn on me like a pack of wolves. She's so attracted to his voice, his accent. He's a welder and elevator mechanic. That's so hot. And he's like, "Great. Yes, you are also nice." The men are playing it pretty cool with Soul and Jen as well. They're playing it so cool that finally Soul and Jen are like, "So, like, are you all really happy in your couples?
Are you
Like, is
just, you're
anyone
good?
exploring. Zach is
And
kind of like, yeah, I'm really happy in mine. Like, I feel really good about it. So I'm not really looking around.
note that Zach volunteers that he's so happy that he is not interested in exploring.
Sincere finally volunteers that his dynamic with Melanie is, quote, interesting, and
Yikes.
that her screaming so loudly for Caleb was a red flag. So he's open to exploring. Jen's red flag is when men hate on her for playing Taylor Swift music and trying to turn it off. But like the rest of them just don't seem to want to put it out there that their couples are not stable. Corbin is
Yeah.
the newest, and he's like, I don't really see myself having other good options here. So I'm just kind of locked in on Kenzie, and I'm just going to white knuckle cling on to her and hope for the best.
It's an error. You should be exploring Corbin. Or you should just go home. That would be fine too.
But like, Kate is not into him. He's not into Melanie or Anaya.
And I don't think they're really into him. I just wondered why he didn't kind of go for it with like Jen.
Yeah, no, I do think that he should have leaned more into
The
the bombshell
Yeah.
experience. So Sincere tells the camera that things with Melanie are unraveling, and he just got 2 state-of-the-art Christmas presents. So is he just gonna look at them? Like, people are like, "Oh, poor Sincere, he's so sweet, he's so genuine, he's doing everything right." And I'm like, he's constantly, like, objectifying these women, talking about them like they're trophies, like, behind Melanie's back. But then to Melanie, he's like, "I will never."
Claire, they start out as fish
Then they
and then they
become
become
Christmas.
Christmas presents. You know, they start out as
And then they become
inanimate objects.
and then they
wrapped up
become
in a
anchors
bow.
around your neck that you have to escape.
That's the third stage.
I feel like he and Melanie just really I do think kind of kicked this off by overly assuring her too early, then not being fully honest about his interest in exploring. He set off her like all her alarm bells, and then Melanie dragged it to hell. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna be a little bit shady. I'm gonna be a lot bit shady in front of your face all the time so that you know that I have options and you know how it feels, and like you can't just mess around on me." That has been giving him more and more of the ick, and so now increasingly feels like he is allowed to be more and more shady in his
No, it's
behavior.
so bad. And he really started to piss me off during this episode because
Yeah.
I fully support him going to explore. I support any of them
Yeah.
exploring with the bombshells. Again, it's day 7. Like,
Explore.
go explore. However, you don't get to fucking lie about it. And that is what
Mm-mm.
we ultimately see from Sincere as the episode
Sincerely
goes on.
lying.
I
Uh
hate it.
Trinity and Bea give Sol and Jen a tour, and Bryce is like so cute. He's like swooning at what a sweetheart Trinity is. He's
And
like, I told her that I know Jen, but she's still being really friendly and giving her a tour. Like, she's such a warm person. Like, I love that. I was
it's
like,
so
he's noticing her
cute.
qualities. When a man notices a woman's qualities and attributes, that's romance.
He can name at least one
A
attribute.
specific
That's
attribute.
so cool.
It's not even a physical one. He
Wow.
loves her so bad.
What a guy.
And Trinity wants the tea on how Jen knows Bryce, but she does end up, I think, like waiting until Bryce tells her. So she's not even using the tour to get that information. Bea tells them, because Bea's also giving the tour, she tells the women, like, oh, it's so great. Like, we're all so close. I don't have a lot of female friends, but I've made them here. And I was like, yes,
We know.
confirmed. I was like, everything about how you handle these situations suggests that you have a lot more male friends. Then that's not even anything wrong. It's just so clear that she's used to handling these things in a certain way and that she's used to being close to men.
And you know what?
But
That is a beautiful thing about Love Island is that it is forcing her to
I know,
create lasting friendships with women.
which is
I love
beautiful.
that.
Mel and Sincere talk again. Again, they try
Lord.
to squash the beef. He says he feels disrespected by her ping-ponging with him and Corbin. Like every episode now, they have to have a talk about how he feels disrespected. She apologizes, but also says she really didn't know it was Corbin. Do you believe her?
I don't know. I mean, she knew it wasn't Sincere.
She definitely knew it wasn't Sincere. I think that this is another example, as we have discussed, of one of these two, and Mel is a huge offender here, doing something because she thinks it'll be, like, sexy, fun, flirty for the show for the benefit of Sincere, like, seeing that she has a lot like, high value, whatever, and then when she it's received badly, she's like, "I can't."
Backtracking.
Backtracking. She's like, "I can't say that I did it on purpose. I have to be like, 'I'm sorry, but also I didn't do it on purpose.'" You did. I Yeah, I think you did. She also says she knows she did too much when Caleb came in, but he's not her type, which I believe.
Yeah, and I thought this was actually, like, a really honest moment. She's like, "You know, I did a little too much."
Yeah. But he says that he doesn't want an apology if she doesn't mean it. I do think that she means this apology, but it's also the case that, like, if she keeps apologizing for stuff and then keeps doing the same things, then it's
It
not
won't
gonna feel
land.
genuine.
Yeah.
In her confessional, Mel seems really sad and remorseful. She says she keeps hurting Sincere and she doesn't mean to, but she knows she fucked up. And Sincere just doesn't really seem mollified. He's like, I keep like giving her inches. She keeps taking a mile. Anaya's
Yikes.
still pissed at KC. She's like, he's covered in red. And I was like, well, he didn't do that. Like, she does see, like, kind of act like, why is he covered in red? And I'm like, well, because the bombshells touched him a lot. Like, he was handcuffed to the bed. And I do think, however, she approaches him in a pretty reasonable way about what bothered her about that whole interaction and the jokes he made.
Yeah, and he seems to get it when she's like, "Look, I've never given you cause to feel insecure when a bombshell comes in or feel disrespected." And he's like, "You know what? That makes sense." He is very clear with her that he does think Soul is pretty and he is open to exploring a connection with her. And I think that that is how exactly how they should be approaching these moments. Like, I like you. I'm sorry if I did something that was a little bit disrespectful. Also, I am open to developing an interest in this new person, and I need you to know that. And that seems like fair game.
I think he did the right thing. And sometimes it's just so hurtful when your partner does that. Like later she'll say like, I wish he had been more upfront with me. And like Kenzie does the same thing, but it's like they were upfront with you. You just didn't really like what you heard and you don't like seeing it happen.
And like I get that. This
That's
is why
fair.
I would be awful on a show like Love Island. Like I mean for so many reasons, but like
Yeah.
what a nightmare to be walking into these like emotional bombs all the
Yeah.
time.
But that's also why you can't let your desire to be respectful to your partner prevent you from playing the game because you're busy
Exactly.
like only touching men's pecs instead of kissing them so that you don't disrespect KC. But he's open to getting to know the bombshell and leaving you for her if he feels that connection. So don't, you know, close yourself off. Don't do one-way monogamy on this show. Zach tells Kata he's pissed that she went so hard making out with the bombshell, and she basically just grovels and apologizes while Zach goes on and on about how they were so cool about all the girls kissing Corbin, but the girls are so pissed about the bombshells.
Like, no, you weren't, Zach.
But I'm like, you seem way more pissed about Caleb than they seem to be about the bombshells
Right.
right now. So, okay. He's starting to really irritate me. He tells her that he told the bombshells that he was closed off, and she's like, "You did?" She's, like, very giddy, but he's still mad. He's like, "I know that she, like, apologized, but it's hard to just get back to the place of feeling good about things."
Fuck off, Zach. He's really starting to annoy me, especially because the next morning he's like, you know how I unforced and unprompted told a group of people that didn't include my partner that I was closed off, and then I told her that I was closed off. Well, now I'm panicking.
Yeah, I'm actually
Oh, am
not
I in a
closed off.
relationship? I don't want to be closed off. Sir, she didn't push you to be closed off.
No
You
one
did that
asked
on
us.
your own.
He got himself too deep into feelings and now he's stressed about it. That's not Kata's fault. She hasn't made out with anyone outside of the challenges. She has kept her boundaries. She has been respectful of him, I think, in every conceivable way, except that I guess she wrapped her legs around the bombshell as part of this challenge. Oh my God. Oh no.
Crucify
Oh no,
her.
on Love Island, really? So the next morning, he is one of many people who are just like reevaluating. He's like, I'm not ready to be married. I can't be tied down. I'm too young. I haven't even introduced her to my cat. Like, he's so stressed. Sincere is like, you know what? I really need to like spread the love around to Soul. She's dreamy. Trinity and Mel agree that what Mel did in the challenge wasn't as bad as Sincere claims, but she has put on a hot swimsuit as a win my man back look.
It unfortunately, I don't think works.
The problem is that they're all wearing hot swimsuits. Like, that's kind of the Love Island challenge that a lot of women and men encounter, where they're like, oh my God, how is it not working that I'm like insanely hot and wearing a cute outfit? That always works in every other context in my life. Caleb tells Bea he'd learn another language for her, just like he did for a German girl he dated for 45 days.
Does he know any of the German now?
Not anymore.
No, it left his brain.
Gabrielle takes Soul to Soul Ties, and the women are scandalized because you're only supposed to take someone you really fuck with to Soul Ties.
But then I did understand why they felt a little scandalized, because clearly what he was trying to do was just get himself out of where Bea could see him so that he could
Right.
pressure Soul into making out with him.
I was like, on the one hand, I didn't even know the significance of Soul Ties, and I've been watching for at least a season now. Do you really think Gabrielle has any idea what Soul Ties means? But he did take her there so he could make out in private.
He is doing fuckery. So
Yeah. And then what's really funny is that afterwards, she looks like the grimace emoji.
she is
Like, she's like,
repulsed.
she can't even hide it, how put off she
She's like,
is.
you know, sometimes where you just make out and you feel the pheromones, and those were not the right pheromones.
Yeah, my pheromones rejected his pheromones on site. Absolutely not.
I mean, it's a lot of tongue.
Yeah, I was like, is it the pheromones or is it the percentage of tongue? Maybe it's both. She didn't ever seem that interested in him. He's not someone that she like mentioned as a focus, but he clearly wants to explore. So he really put the moves on, and it didn't convert her. Bryce tells Trinity that all the guys are pissed at the girls after how they acted in the challenge. And she's like, "Oh, are you mad at me?" And he's like, "No, no, we're good. We're good."
And they just talk
And
about how they just have really healthy communication. And honestly, they do.
they do. And she's like, "Our communication is so open. That's why we don't have drama." And I'm like, I think it's a blend of that and the fact that no one else is really trying to go super hard for you guys
Yeah.
and break you up,
We'll
which also
see.
helps.
We'll see how things go as more bombshells come in.
Yeah. But they do communicate really well, and they appreciate things about each other that aren't just physical qualities. And that's a really good basis for a connection. And I low key love them and am obsessed with them.
Same.
Sincere and Anaya spend some time together bonding over feeling like their partners are disrespecting them with the bombshells. Meanwhile, Casey is counseling Mel and trying to get her to admit that she knew it was Corbin and Sincere. And she's like, I swear I didn't know. And he's like, Mel, you know I love you.
I loved this moment,
you know.
actually. He was like, "Mel, girl."
Yeah.
Like,
This was, I think, a more effective way to call Mel out because it allows her to kind of backtrack in a playful way without feeling cornered. She's sort of like, yeah, I guess I played too much. Like, I did fuck up. But I didn't know. But I did too much.
then we see Zach express to Kata that he closed things off too quickly and he is panicking.
Yeah.
And you can tell that she tries to take this well, but she's understandably fucking annoyed.
Yeah, like she did not pressure him to close things off.
No.
And this was last night. So, of course, you're going to be like, where is this coming from?
Right.
Is
Why
he
are you
pulling
pulling away
away?
all of a sudden? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, don't do that. Don't volunteer that you're closed off if you're not sure that's what you want. That's not what you were even talking about. Like, you could just be like, I'm realizing that we're in such a good place that I'm just, even though they're bombshells, I'm really focused on you right now. Without being like, I told them that I was closed off.
Yeah.
That means something.
Like, this is your fault, Zach. Every piece of this is your fault.
Yeah. So she's like, "Okay, I get it. You know, I'm gonna talk to the boy bombshell today and we'll just like explore." And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't mean that. What did
What
what
did
did you
you mean
mean?"
then?
He's like, "I wanted to not feel closed off, but also for you to act closed off." Okay,
Sir,
not
you
gonna
need to
happen.
manage your own anxiety. I think this is a you problem. This is a conversation for Zach with Zach.
This actually is a textbook example of something that I've never believed happens in real life, where a guy is scared of how much he likes a girl,
No,
and
I
he has to pull
genuinely think
away.
he is.
Zach immediately pulls Jen, which infuriates Kata. So Kata takes Caleb to soul ties, and we all know what that
Soul
means.
ties is just being weaponized this episode.
Jen has said that she likes Taylor Swift, so Zach asks if she also likes One Direction, and she does. And he's like, "Fuck yeah, yes, One Direction. My favorite is Zayn." And she's like, "I think you look like Zayn." And he's like, "Do you?" I've heard that before. I actually got these piercings because of it. And I was like, "Oh, so you brought up favorite One Directioners to slowly lead her down the primrose path to the point where you could get her to see that you resemble Zayn."
This is a Megan Fox situation.
I think
Uh,
we're seeing his entire like flirtation, like pickup strategy in action, which is just like bring up One Direction. Suddenly they're like, "You do look sort of like Zayn. Now you're having sex." Like boom, boom, boom. But it's true. It is a Megan Fox situation. Sincere pulls Soul and they swap war stories as people with gender norm incongruent hair, which I love. She cut hers short when her father died and she got stress alopecia. And he grew, which is very sad.
that's so sad.
And she's young, like to have gone through
Yeah,
that.
24, I
Um,
think.
yeah. And he says he grew his out after he finished private school and was finally allowed to have a more interesting hairstyle. And they end up making out in Say Less. The pheromones are a go. I would say Soul initiated this one pretty clearly, but he is super down for it.
Yeah, these two are just, they're into each other. And that becomes very clear.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Mel has finally realized that she needs to stop self sabotaging.
Yes. And she it might be too late. I
Yeah,
think
it's
she
like,
might be
this
too
is
late.
disastrous.
Also, it was really funny to me when Corbin tried to assure Kenzie that they're good. He's not going to go after the bombshells. And she looks like super disappointed. She's like, "I want to shed this guy." Anaya confronts Casey because she heard from Sincere that his ex looked like Soul and she wishes that he would be straight with her. And he's like, "I have been, but also this chat really just makes me want to lock in things more." So he reassures her that he is interested and they kiss and everyone's like, "Yay." That night, Gabrielle pulls Jen and asks if he's her type. And she says she usually dates like finance guys or like finance guys
Fun,
who are funny
funny
or
finance
something.
guys. I was like, do
I
those exist?
I don't. She says she's never dated a Latino, so he teaches her some Portuguese, which includes a request for a kiss. And I was like, "Oh, this guy
This is,
actually loves trying to date women who don't speak his language."
he's like, it's so much easier to manipulate them into a makeout if they don't
Yeah,
speak my language.
and they do make out. Kenzie and Caleb discuss their goals.
This was so funny to me.
He says he wants 1 to 4 kids. She says she wants minimum 5 and tries to convince him that it would be so fun. They have so many kids and a farm with livestock and they make out. And I was like, uh
Okay.
Kenzie is really trad wife core at heart.
Yeah, she's like, I love your country boy morals.
Yeah. I want to
Mm.
have a farm and 5 to 10 kids and marry a country boy. Sincere pulls Soul for another chat in the speakeasy that night, and Soul says she'll let him tell Melanie about the kiss. And he says, if she asks, I'll tell her.
This pissed me off. This is where Sincere really lost me. Absolutely fucking not, sir. You've been in a couple with Melanie. You need to be honest with her. You need to say, I have an interest in Soul. I'm exploring that. By the way, she initiated a kiss and I participated in it.
Yeah.
And like
I
I'm gonna keep doing that.
To put it on Melanie to specifically ask that is, I think, extremely sus.
And then she does, and he still isn't totally honest about it.
Yeah, he admits to the exact thing that she asked about, but really downplays it. For example, he ends up making out with Soul again in the speakeasy. Just as Melanie is heading off to look for Sincere, she walks in right as Soul is pulling away from Sincere and walking off. And so Melanie is like, "What's going on with Soul?" He admits he wants to keep getting to know her. And he's like, "I also want to keep getting to know you because we are a couple. Like, we're matched in the game. Like, we're a couple." Wow. How romantic. What enthusiasm. She tells him that she really wants to be with him, like, even after the show. And she knows that if he wants to dip for another connection, she has to let him do that. But it really hurts to see him like really exploring other women. It makes her feel even more sorry about how she may have made him feel because now she's feeling it.
Oh, this made me so sad. It felt like finally she was like, okay, maybe the approach here is just to be really vulnerable about how I'm feeling. But by this point, it feels like a little too late. And
Yeah.
Sincere is now kind of fucking with her and like
Yeah.
lying.
She asks at this point if he and Soul kissed in the speakeasy. And like he's being like, "Oh, that's so great," like loving everything she's saying. But then she's like, "Did you guys kiss in the speakeasy?" And he's like, "Yes, but nothing crazy." Like nothing crazy and like no one can really compare to you, like of course. And like she is the one who asked for the kiss and we just talked a couple of times. I was like, "So now you're massively downplaying how interested you are
Right? You're
in Soul."
very interested in her. You've said it multiple times to the camera. Also, there were multiple very intense makeouts that have happened now. You were very into both of them.
But she only asked about the one in the speakeasy. So, like,
Right.
he doesn't have to admit to the one that happened and say less. And as they're talking, a song starts playing that's like, "You and me are like bumper cars. The more I try to get to you, the more we crash apart." I was
They're
dying
so literal.
laughing.
They're so literal.
So literal. It's like they wrote the lyrics to fit this kind of situation exactly and, like, set it to music just for this scene, but, like, the bumper car, like, kiddie carnival, like, metaphor is also so childlike. I was dying laughing. So Mel is very sad, but she stays calm. She ends the conversation. He's like, "I would still love to, like, be with you after this, we can work it out." And she's like, "Or you can, like, be with Soul after this." I gotta go. She's really sad. I think that a lot of people were expecting, like, a huge crash out from
Mhm.
Melanie, but, like, a lot like, she really has never exactly done that. She gets sad, sometimes she's manipulative or passive aggressive or petty or directs it the wrong
She
way.
pulls it back at a certain point.
She does. And he is really testing her, like, he really is fucking with her, he really is being dishonest,
I hated
and
it. I hated this so fucking much.
yeah. They're clearly both participating in this dynamic, and they both have contributed very much to really fucking up the vibe between them. And I don't know if there is a path back, but I was left thinking that probably the right thing to do is to pair him with Soul just to throw them out of this rut where they keep like
I
pissing each
agree.
other off and fighting.
Unfortunately, I agree.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the gang is like debating whether they could work. Anaya is the only one who seems to think so. She's like, their only problem is bad communication, which is like pretty fundamental.
Pretty central. I was like, I love your sunny outlook, Anaya. You're so sweet.
Yeah. Bea says Mel has bad communication and they only seem like they make sense together because they're day ones. I'm sympathetic to this read because I don't think that most of them understand Sincere's fuckery because a lot of it has been in confessionals or in private.
Yeah, it's not, you're right. It's actually not stuff that they have seen.
I think that Mel is picking up on the fact that he is not matching words to actions because there have been enough tells, but I think it's much more obvious that Mel is the one who is acting out as a form of bad communication, while comes off like much more like
Sincere.
soft-spoken and sincere. Um, so now we vote for who to couple the bombshells up with.
I personally kind of hate this type of vote.
Yeah.
I prefer just to vote for couples and then let like the bombshells do their bombshell thing and pick who they want to couple up with. Let like the jury of peers decide if someone's going to be cast out of the villa. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like sort of hated it. Like I did end up just voting for the bombshells to couple up with people it seemed like they had hit it off with. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, am I unintentionally then screwing over people that I don't want to see leave the show?
That's the thing. Like, I hate to think of people who I think are interesting or have a lot more story left in them leaving because people just are annoyed by them. But that is how the show works. We'll see what happens. I do think
Who
that,
did you vote for?
well, I couldn't get the app to work.
Oh, I
couldn't get
actually
it to
it
work.
did crash.
And I forgot to go back and do it later.
No, I actually
I
think you have another hour, Claire.
I
They
was
extended
gonna
it because the app crashed. I voted. I
Yeah.
think I voted for Soul to partner with Sincere, which makes me feel bad, but like that was kind of the obvious one. And then Jen with Gabrielle.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
was gonna do that.
And
But
Caleb
we'll
with Kenzie. But we'll
yeah,
see.
I feel like there aren't a ton of great pair ups to do, and unfortunately, some people are gonna be made vulnerable that I would like to stay in their couples, but we'll see what happens. We'll be back next week with more on 5 more episodes of Love Island Season 8.
On that note, that is it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kenny-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode's audio is edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like our show, remember to follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, spread the word to all of your friends about Love to See It.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can also find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. And you can find our newsletter Rich Text on Patreon at patreon.com/rich text. I'm also on Blue Sky at Emma Gray and on Instagram and Threads at Emmalady Rose.
And I'm at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Peter Ariaga, Kate Rose, Mara Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Shutt.
We'll be back soon.
Can you keep up?